I was asked by one of the subscribers to the channel to make a video about how to safely manage driving around roundabouts. So today I'm on my way to Milton Keynes, which is a city that has in excess of 130 roundabouts and is growing all the time. Before I get to Milton Keynes, I want to address the general principles of safely entering, transitioning and leaving a roundabout. A roundabout is just another hazard on the road that we must deal with on our journey. Hence, we use the system of car control that we use to manage any hazard on the road. The system was first described in the 1930s and has evolved into a system that we still use today, and in fact is used to train all emergency services, police, fire and ambulance drivers today. We remember the 5 phases of the system using the acronym IPSCA: information, position, speed, gear and acceleration. And we always remember that we're looking to make safe, smooth and unobtrusive progress on the roads. The information phase encapsulates the other 4 phases, as all driving decisions must be based on information that we get primarily from what we see, but also from what we can hear and what we can feel through the steering wheel. Information comes in the form of road signs, white paint on the roads, road conditions, and anything else that gives us advance warning of the hazards that we need to deal with. There are a few things to remember about roundabouts before I describe how to negotiate a roundabout. When approaching a roundabout, always be prepared to stop, but get ready to go if a safe opportunity presents itself. Always be looking for that safe gap to move into when approaching a roundabout, and adjust your speed to meet that gap. Always be in the correct gear for the speed that you're travelling at. You need to manually select that in a car with a manual gearbox, but in an automatic vehicle you need to let the car settle into that gear before you get to the roundabout. If at all possible, never get side by side with a vehicle on your near side, just in case they decide to cross in front of you or borrow some of the lane that you're in. Whether the roundabout is raised or flat, you should always attempt to go around it. Now, large vehicles may have more difficulty in steering around roundabouts, so give them plenty of room. Okay, so on approaching a roundabout, the first thing that we need to do is establish which exit we will be leaving the roundabout, as this will govern some of the decisions that we need to make. Identifying the exit you wish to take will either come from your local knowledge or from the signage of the roundabout. This is the first bit of information that is specific to the roundabout. Other information that we should already be aware of and you should have in your mind are the road conditions. Is the road dry, wet, raining, icy, foggy, etc.? All of this information should already be governing your driving at this stage. Once we know the exit we'll be taking, we can continue the planning, and the first part of this will be getting into the lane in which we need to approach the roundabout. Look at the signage on the road, as there may be a number of options. And now we need to follow the rest of the system of car control. Using the rear view mirror, establish the traffic behind you. If you don't have any traffic behind you, you may not need to use your brake lights to inform other road users that you're slowing down for the approach to the roundabout. Of course, if there is traffic behind you and you do need to adjust your speed, then you should definitely give that information to the vehicles behind you. Use your wing mirrors to see if there's any other traffic, such as cyclists or motorbikes, that have come into a position on either side of your vehicle. You will need to manage them if they have. As soon as possible, look at the roundabout to establish how busy the roundabout is in terms of other traffic using that roundabout. You'll need to give priority to traffic from the right. This will give you an idea of whether you will probably need to come to a stop or if you will have a chance of smoothly entering a safe gap on the roundabout. If you have traffic ahead of you, then look for brake lights to tell you if you may need to stop. Like I say, prepare to stop, but always be ready to go. On the approach to the roundabout, there could be 1, 2 or even 3 lanes of traffic. Let's look at taking the first exit from the roundabout. So we've gathered information, performed our mirror checks and got into lane 1 to leave at the first exit. On final approach, we'll be looking for a safe gap on the roundabout, checking the traffic in front of us, which we hope will have got onto the roundabout by the time we reach the entrance, and we will have adjusted our speed to try and meet the gap that we've identified. You will reach a point where you need to make a decision. Do I have to stop or can I now go? If you have to stop, then you can either continue to brake if you've been using your brakes to adjust your speed, or you can engage the foot brake to smoothly come to a stop. If there are vehicles in front, then this will be a safe tyres and tarmac stop. If you have the opportunity to go, then you can perform your final mirror checks, select the appropriate gear for the speed you're travelling at that time, if you've not already achieved that, and put on your left indicator, enter the roundabout, and then leave the roundabout at the first exit. Remember, you only need to indicate if it will provide benefit to any other road users, and that may include pedestrians. On leaving the roundabout, perform a left mirror check to ensure you don't have any cyclists on your inside that you may need to make allowances for. Once you've safely left the roundabout, you can then accelerate up to a safe speed for the road conditions and of course not exceeding the speed limit. Now the same system applies for leaving at exit 2 from a roundabout. On a single lane approach to the roundabout, use the system described above, but the information you give to other road users will change. On approach and entering the roundabout, no signal should be given until you've passed the exit prior to the one you will be taking. On taking the second exit, we will need to indicate as you pass the first exit, but not before. On approach to the roundabout, you may find that the lanes in the road split into either 2 or even 3 lanes. If you are taking the second exit, then move into the appropriate lane for a lane 2 exit. Again, wait until you've passed lane 1 to give a signal of your intentions to take lane 2, perform your mirror checks, and then perform a safe departure from the roundabout, again accelerating up to a safe speed once your steering is straightened. If you intend to take the third or subsequent exits from a roundabout, then the negotiation of the roundabout becomes a little bit more complex. But the same principles apply. On approach to the roundabout, gather information as I've described and select the appropriate lane for the exit you intend to take. For the third exit, this will be the right-hand lane of the road approaching the roundabout, if this is available. Before entering the roundabout, put on your right indicator so that this is not an action you'll need to take while steering around the roundabout, and then enter the roundabout and using your observations decide when you need to move into the appropriate lane to exit the roundabout. Good use of mirrors is required to ensure this manoeuvre is executed safely. When the entrance to the roundabout is from a dual carriageway, the same principles apply. Lane 1 can be used for departure at exits 1 and 2, and lane 2 of the carriageway should be used for exits 3 and beyond. It should be noted that where a dual carriageway exists at the exit from a roundabout, you can depart in lane 2 if it's safe for you to do so. There are a couple of other things to be aware of at roundabouts. Where there are a series of roundabouts together, then you should use the system that I've described to address each roundabout as an individual roundabout. Secondly, in the latest changes to the highway code, you need to give priority to cyclists on a roundabout. They will be travelling more slowly than you, and therefore you need to give them plenty of room and do not attempt to overtake them within their lane. You should allow them to move across your path as they travel around the roundabout. Cyclists, horse riders and horse-drawn vehicles may stay in the left-hand lane when they intend to continue across or around the roundabout, and they should signal you right to show you that they are not leaving the roundabout. You need to take extra care when entering a roundabout to ensure that you do not cut across cyclists, horse riders or horse-drawn vehicles in the left-hand lane who are continuing across the roundabout. So here are the golden rules. Use the system of car control to plan, negotiate and exit each roundabout individually. Gather information, decide on which exit you need to take, and then get into the correct lane for that exit. Check your mirrors as much as possible to avoid conflict with other road users. Always plan to stop, but get ready to go. And alter your approach to the roundabout wherever possible to enter a safe gap, and then give the required indication as I've described. Always be aware of other traffic and avoid any possible conflict. And where possible, do not get side by side with other vehicles or road users. Be especially aware of large vehicles as they may need more room to manoeuvre around the roundabout, and be aware of vehicles with foreign number plates as they most likely will be left-hand drive vehicles and may not be familiar with UK roundabouts. Whichever exit you take, wait for your steering to become straight before accelerating up to a safe speed for the road conditions present at the time. Be especially aware of vulnerable road users such as pedestrians, cyclists, horses and horse-drawn carriages. So let's see some examples in action. Looking for information, I will return to lane 1 because I am going to leave at the first exit. I'm indicating, looking at the roundabout, I can slot in behind the silver car, and again just slotting into behind the car, quick mirror check just to make sure that nothing was on my left before I actually exited, and now I can accelerate up to the speed limit if it's safe, but my speed is dictated by the car in front and the 2-second rule, or maybe even the 3 or 4 second rule. Now at the roundabout ahead, I'm just going to repeat the same again, but I'm going to take the second exit. So two-way road, information, looking at the rear view mirror, then looking at my wing mirrors. I've got one car behind at a distance but approaching. Nothing on my inside or outside. Adjusting my speed. The roundabout is clear, so just slotting onto the roundabout, waiting until I'm past the first exit and then indicating for the second exit into a 40 mile an hour speed limited area. So again, I've just executed information, position, speed, gear and acceleration. I'm now approaching another roundabout, executing the system again, information. In the mirrors I can see one car approaching in lane 1. There's nothing directly behind me. Looking for a slot on the roundabout. I'm adjusting my speed, letting the car settle into its gear, being prepared to stop but getting ready to go, and we can just move across the roundabout, indicating once we've got past the first junction and exiting into lane 2. That's safe for me to do so because it's the lane where I'm going to make the most progress. I'm well below the actual speed limit for this road, but it's probably appropriate for the conditions, seeing as it's a little bit wet and rainy. Now I can see braking ahead already. Checking my mirrors, I have got one car behind at a reasonable distance. I can see the early sign for the roundabout. So I'm just going to check my wing mirrors. There is one coming up on lane 1. There is a car behind me still on lane 2. And I can see here we've got a filter lane. So I'm going to be cautious about traffic moving across that may be in the wrong lane approaching. I'm going to take exit 2, looking at the roundabout for that gap, adjusting my speed, letting the car settle into the correct gear, preparing to stop but getting ready to go. But we've got traffic coming round. I'm still rolling, but we've still got more traffic coming round. But I've managed to actually keep the car gently rolling into the roundabout. Past the first exit, so I will now indicate that I am leaving the roundabout, waiting for my wheels to become straight, and then I can accelerate up to a safe speed again. At the next roundabout, I'm going to execute the system again, information, position, speed, gear and acceleration. So I will be taking the third exit from the roundabout ahead that I can see now. So information, I'm looking in the mirrors, there's nothing behind me, nothing laterally that I need to be worried about from my wing mirrors. I'm now looking at the roundabout to see how busy it is, and it doesn't look too busy. I'm now getting into a correct position for taking the third exit. So on this road it's a two-way road, so I just need to be in a position for leaving at the third exit. Another check of the mirrors as I approach, looking at the roundabout, adjusting my speed, letting the car settle into correct gear. If I was in a manual car, I'd be selecting the manual gear that was appropriate. And then I had to come to a stop, indicate to leave at the third exit, and then safely negotiate the roundabout, checking the wing mirrors as you go round and especially as you exit, and indicating to show that you are leaving, waiting until the wheels become straight and then accelerating up to the speed limit if it's safe to do so.